Welcome. Today's lesson is on triangle congruence and its vocabulary. The first word is congruence. Congruence simply means absolutely equal in every way, shape, and form. No difference. They are identical. Corresponding means what two things are the same. Included angle. Well, we're talking about an angle, and if it's included, it has to be between two things. On this triangle, we have two things that are illustrated. We have angles that are illustrated, and we have sides that are illustrated. So an included angle is going to be an angle between two sides. So an example of an included angle here would be angle C, which is included between side CE and side CD. So angle C is the included angle, for example, in this example. Included side. Well, we have one side, and it's going to be included between two things. Two things that's going to be included in between are the two angles. An example of that would be this side right here, the one in green, side CE, and that's going to be included between two angles. The two angles that's included between are angle C and angle E. Another term you will see and need to be familiar with is corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. CPCTC for short. CPCTC simply means if I have two triangles that are congruent, then the parts that are in correspondence, the parts that are the same, are going to be congruent. Like where you have angle C and angle M are marked as being congruent. Those are corresponding parts, and they are congruent. We have segment CD and MN as marked as being congruent. Those are corresponding parts. They are congruent. And likewise. Three more terms that you need to be aware of are definitions. A definition is a fact based upon agreed word meanings. We decide what a thing is, and we describe it and we define it. For example, how do we know what an apple is? Well, an apple is an apple. Why? Because we all agree that most apples are red, and that's because that's what an apple is. That's a definition. A postulate is a truth without proof. It's something we know is true, but we can't prove it. A theorem is a truth with a logical or mathematical proof. So again, the three types of truth that we have are definitions, postulates, that's a truth without proof, and theorems, which are truths with a logical or mathematical proof. For 5 of the theorems that you need to learn for triangle congruence are these in blue. The first one is side, side, side. The abbreviation is the first letter of each of the words, SSS. What does that mean? It means if I've got two triangles and they're congruent, then I can tell they are if all three sides are congruent to the other three sides. So if I'm given three sides and the other three sides of another triangle are the same, then they are congruent because of side, side, side theorem. There's another one called side, angle, side. Angle is included. Why? Because it's between the two sides. The A is between the two S's. Now, how do I know that it's side, angle, side? Well, the angle is included, so I have one angle. See the one angle? And it's included, that means between two sides. So if I have two triangles where I know this side is congruent to the one in the other triangle, and this side is corresponding and congruent to the one in the other triangle, and the angle in between both are congruent, then those two triangles are congruent because of side, angle, side. The next one has an included side. Notice angles are on the outside with the single side inside. This is angle, side, angle, ASA. So I've got an included side, one side, that's included between two angles. Here's my two angles. That's angle, side, angle, side, angle. The next one is angle, angle, side. This one does not have an included side or angle. It has two angles followed by a side. So, two angles, angle, angle, and then a side outside. This is angle, angle, side. Another one is hypotenuse leg, HL for short. Now for hypotenuse leg, you must have a right triangle. If you don't have a right triangle, then you can't have a hypotenuse. So if we know the hypotenuse of of two right triangles, and one of the corresponding legs in each triangle is congruent, like here, then the two triangles are congruent because of hypotenuse leg. These are the 5 main theorems that you use for triangle congruence. There's one more iteration that we have not covered here that is not a triangle congruence theorem. The one that's missing, instead of side, 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 is angle, angle, angle. And that's down here. Angle, angle, angle. AAA. This one is not a congruence theorem. Why? Well, because we don't know anything about any of the links. All we know is that we have two triangles where all the angles are congruent. Now, while they may not be congruent, they will be similar, and we will use this particular theorem later, but for similarity. For example, we have a triangle here that's where the angles are congruent. If I make it bigger and extend the sides, I still have the angles are all still congruent, but the sides are different. Therefore, the triangles are not congruent. They are merely similar. That's why this is not a congruence theorem. This is only a similarity theorem. We do not use it for triangle congruence, only the ones in blue. Please go to Edmodo, find lesson 2.2, and do the check for understanding.